What's going on, New York Giant fans? What's going on, Matthew? What's going on, Zach Attack? What's going on? Oh, the big LJ's in his house. We also have something new we're going to be adding to the wall. As soon as I get the, I have these light stanchions. I mean, like real light stanchions. Like, I got to build it. It's like a frame that goes around, and I got to put the regular lights. So I'm going to have all this illuminated. Like an Illuminati, have this all illuminated so you can see all the shit that's behind me, because you really can't see everything that's behind me. And we're going to be adding today the Pillsbury Doughboy from 1971. We're going to be adding him today. Who knows? He may make an appearance on the show all day. Why am I happy? Because there's no more Mr. Jones. Oh, I'm excited. I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. Matthew wants to know, how you doing? I'm doing good, man. I'm having a good day. I got my coffee from Black Rifle, because you all know it's the bomb, like me. I've got Big Blue for everything. Smash that like. What's going on, Mr. McCormick? You know what's going on, Tim? I'll tell you what's going on. We're going up against the vaunted Dallas Cowboys. We got Chris going. What's up, Chris? How you doing, my friend? Hope everything's going. Let's go, Joe Pesci of the New York Giants. Oh, you got to give Danny DeVito. I'm going to keep calling him Danny DeVito. Until he wins a game, he is Danny DeVito. When he wins the game, he is going to get his own sound effect. Oops. Well, evidently that didn't work. Why didn't that sound effect work? Hold on. Oh, no. Wait a minute. I don't know why the sound effects aren't working today. That's not good. That's not good that sound effects aren't working. I don't know. I'm a little upset that the board's not working today. I'll have to shut down the board and restart the board. We're going to shut down the sound effect board and restart the sound effect. What's up, Ohio? Why, did I ever leave Ohio? We got Joe Pesci. The character was Tommy DeVito in Goodfellas. Of course he was. We know that. We got the big LJ again. Give him the big peace symbol. Admiral Matumbo answers, what's the beverage for today? Shockingly, this is not Black Rifle. Shockingly, this is Pumpkin Spice. No, this is what is this? This is Panera blend today. I don't know why. Todd says, get on Tommy touchdown train. No, I'm going with tanking with Tommy. That's what we've said it before. We've said it again. This show is officially the Tanking with Tommy show, because we need this win. We don't want to win. We don't need a win. We don't want to win. I had a Tanking with Tommy sound. I think I had a Tanking with Tommy thing here, but I don't know where it went. I don't want to win. I don't want to win another game. I want to win nothing. I want Caleb Williams. I'll take Drake May. I'll take Penix. I'm a little worried about the injuries to Penix, but I'll take Penix. But let's see. Does this work now? Now it works. All right. Soundboard wasn't working before, because you want to know why? We always have to have, I get agita when the soundboard doesn't work. Here we go. Well, no, that's not it. Wait, we're going to find it.
You were serious about that?
Of course I'm serious about that, Tommy. And Mr. Weaver, Tommy DeVito, watch how he miraculously scores 30 this game. Something tells me. You know what's scary that you bring this up, Mr. Weaver? I was thinking about it last night. I was thinking about this. The giant luck would be this. We rattle off like 4 straight wins. That would be the giant luck. And that we would drop us out of the top 10. We would drop us out of quarterback contention. We would have to go get some quarterback somewhere. And then Daniel Jones would come back at week 10. And I would have to sit here through year 6 of Daniel Jones. No. No. That's literally all I'm going to say is no. Because I can't do it. I can't. I mean, I literally can't do it. And it kills me to say that. That I can't stomach another season with Daniel Jones. I just can't. It just makes you cringe when you think about it. And knowing the Giants, they will do this. They will screw this up some way. Because if you look at their schedule and you look at the schedule realistically, you figure there's a loss in Dallas. I'm probably going to give them a loss to the Commanders in Washington. The Patriot game scares me because I think they can win that game. There's 3 wins. I think they can win the Packer game. That's 4 wins. I think you're going to lose and I think you could potentially lose the last 4 games, which are to the Saints, the Eagles, the Rams, and the Eagles again. Even if the Eagles rest everyone, even if the Eagles go out on South Street during Fleet Week and find anyone to come in, I still think the Giants will lose to the Eagles at home that January 7th game. But that's 4 wins. You look at the teams ahead of us. I mean, it's if we look at the teams ahead of us right now, I'm going to look at the teams ahead of us because Zach Attack, you should have all this information already pulled up for me. Right now, you got the Cardinals. You got the Cardinals. No, Carolina. No, you got Chicago. I'm sorry. You got Chicago picking first. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. I think they're going to stick with Justin Fields. You got Arizona. They're not taking a quarterback because they have way too much money to Kyler Murray. Then you got the Giants. Then we got the Eagles. Then we got New England, who we play behind us. We got the Rams, who we play behind us. And you got Green Bay, who we play behind us. Green Bay could be shopping for a quarterback. LA could be looking for a quarterback. And New England could be looking for a quarterback. So our stupid luck is we win those 2 games. We win those games. We have 4 wins. Then we turn around and do something really stupid like beat Philadelphia or win today in Dallas. And then we have 5 wins. And if I look at this, if I look carefully at the big board here, if we have 5 wins, that could potentially drop us. And then the other scary thing is you got Denver behind us who needs a quarterback. You got Tampa behind us who needs a quarterback. Those 5 wins could put us out of the 10th spot. Could literally take us out of and you got Atlanta needs a quarterback. That could take us out of the 10th spot. I won't be able to deal with it. I won't. I'll crack. I will literally crack.
Now, gentlemen, which brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
Let me see some of these here. But I'm gonna talk about Dallas. I want to talk about Dallas. Let's see here. OG, what's up, Tim? Jaden Daniels is looking better and better. You know, that name keeps coming up. And I did a video yesterday, or 2 days ago, when I talked about quarterbacks. I actually talked to someone who does work in the league. And he told me, and he kept bringing up, and I even said it on the list because someone was like, well, you forgot a couple quarterbacks. I'm like, no, actually, I didn't forget a couple of quarterbacks. He just wasn't on the list. And Jaden Daniels from LSU is making that big jump. Sanders is probably not coming out. His dad already said he's not coming out. Doesn't mean anything. I'm not against JJ McCarthy. I'm not against him, but I don't want him. I don't want Bo Nix. God forbid, I do not want Bo Nix. But if I'm choosing, I got Caleb as my first choice. I got probably Penix my second choice. I would then take May, and then I would probably take Daniels right now. Those would probably be I'd take Jaden Daniels. Those are my top 4 right now. And then after that, I'd probably go McCarthy's and Sanders, and then the kid from Texas. But I'm looking at it right now going, the Giants could screw this up. They could. They could literally screw this up. Zach, what is the Dallas injury report today? Let's find what the injury report is. Where is Zach? Cowboys injury report for today. I'm very excited also. We are going to have the I think it's going to launch this week. It's going to be the 3&D podcast, the New York Knicks 2023 season. I think that's going to release this week. So I'm very excited about that as well. So maybe that's why I'm pumped. Let's see here. I got the injury report. Let's see here. Looks like only Turbin is questionable right now. You got Smith, the tackle with an illness. You got, you got Curse. Safety was a full participant. You got the center was a full participant. Bell, the linebacker, was a limited participant. So it looks like they're going to be good. You got Paris Campbell question. You got Josh Corbin question. How does Josh Corbin become questionable? We just got on the fucking roster. You got Azeez Ojulari, who's going to make an appearance. We'll see how long he lasts. Mark Lewinsky is out. It looks like Evan Neal is also out. Let's see, Deion Jackson is also out. Dory Jackson is out. You look at the outs, and there's a lot of outs. Where's we finally, I'm vamping here because I got a special guest coming in, and we all know who this guest is. You've seen him in the news. You've seen him talk football. You've seen him get into a spat with WFAN. You've seen it all. I'm waiting for him to get ready because he's getting on his fancy glasses because the glasses are his trademark now. Same with that melodious voice that you hear. Try to sound like Billy D. Williams. You know who I'm talking about. The one, the only, the venerable Carl Banks.
Hey, hey.
You do a great job. You do a great Carl Banks, James. I'm 100% credit for that. You do a great Carl Banks.
I listened to like WFAN, I grew up listening to that. So I still listen to it. So, when he was on there, I would tune in because, I would figure he's going to drop some knowledge. But lately he's just been dropping.
Yeah, I'm not. What kind of mug is that?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
It's bad. I know that movie.
You have to be of a certain caliber and age of person to know that.
Understand Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I know that movie, and I know that movie well. Big also show news. I think it's almost confirmed, but James is going to be live in the studio next month. So James is going to be live at the Online Big Blue Studio next month in December. I think maybe the first and second week in December. We haven't confirmed. You haven't confirmed it yet, but I said yes to the day.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, that was confirmation.
That was confirmation. In other words, it's just you going, we're here.
I said December 8th. You said, yeah. Okay.
Okay. That's okay. Well, the weekend of December 8th, James Williams will be live in the studio doing the thing he does. James, we got Dallas today.
Oh.
We were just going over the outs. We got Dory Jackson is out. Evan Neal is out. Mark Lewinsky is out. Azeez Ojulari looks like he is going to be making an appearance. He's questionable. Corbin is questionable, and so is Paris Campbell. And right now there is only one person questionable on the entire Dallas roster, and that's Turbin, the wide receiver punt returner who did have a touchdown last week. So I do really think he will play. When the 5'7" Smurf gets a touchdown against the Eagles, that doesn't bode well for us.
No.
You got the great Danny DeVito. I'm not calling him Tommy till he wins a game. You got Danny DeVito starting the game. It's a 4:00 game. I'm trying to think of a positive for this game. Give us a positive for this game. For the Giants.
You know what?
Uh-oh.
For the rest of the season, it's a chance for us to find the undiscovered.
Okay. I like
find the undiscovered, meaning that there's like I told you a couple weeks ago, McFadden, starting to like that guy a lot.
I like McFadden. I like McFadden too. I think that's a great pick.
Right? So the rest of the, when somebody goes down, what do they always say in sports? Somebody else's chance to step up.
Next man up.
So these next few weeks, maybe there's a diamond in the rough on the team that we just haven't seen yet because there's been so much dirt and he's just been trying to get to the top. And, maybe a day like today when it's like, hey, Dallas, a lot of people are still going to watch. It's Dallas and the Giants. Maybe somebody will show up and we'll be like, hey, that guy may be a keeper. So that's what I'm looking for. The young pups, man.
You're looking for the keeper, but I want something positive in regards to
today.
A giant upset.
Oh, you want a miracle?
We had one in the Meadowlands.
You know what? You could say like this.
Give me something positive.
It's the Cowboys. So, while they've dominated us because we sucked the last 5 years, Daniel Jones is not out there. And that's
isn't he like 0-10 versus Dallas, or wasn't he 0-10 versus Dallas? Something crazy like that.
He beat Andy Dalton, I think, once.
I don't remember.
think-
I remember he beat Washington a couple times. I don't remember him beating Dallas.
No, I do believe, because I keep track of this stuff because I'm a weirdo. He beat Dallas one time in 5 years, but it was with Andy Dalton at the backup. It was the year that we broke his ankle, unfortunately, in the Dallas game. Now we lost that game.
Yeah, I was saying we lost that game.
No, I'm talking about the next game.
Oh, the next game. Okay, the next game.
Jersey, yeah. So we did beat them one time, but Dak was out with the broken ankle, and I think it was Andy Dalton.
You're right. It was Andy Dalton, a quarterback. You're right.
Yeah. So we have beaten Dallas. We just never beaten Dak, which is a crazy stat to say. Like, we're probably partly responsible for him even getting the contract, because his agent was able to go in there and say, well, hey, he's beaten one of your division rivals nonstop. He's never lost to them.
Just remember this. Danny DeVito has never lost to Dallas.
This is true.
See, I can find the silver lining.
This is true. So I say all that to say it's still Dallas, meaning that they're still, hey, they lost to the astronaut farmer. They lost to Dobbs, you know. So anything can happen on a Sunday. I love football because it's one of the few sports where
you never know.
You never know. You know, an undefeated great team can lose to an upstart giant team in a Super Bowl. So
a couple weeks ago, Rutgers was scaring the bejesus at Ohio State.
They were.
They were actually winning.
I was at work.
Greg Schiano was sitting there going, this is going to be the upset of the century. If they would have beat Ohio State, I would have been like, okay, you know what? Giants beating Dallas with Danny DeVito? Doesn't seem so crazy.
No, you know, and so you take that fact and just hope that Dak has one of those old school Dak games where in the first half he looks amazing, and in the second half he's interception city. That's what you can hope for.
Or they're just going to run the ball down our throats with Tony Pollard.
We're not going to lose 40-0. I'm calling that.
All right, you know what? And I said this on the last live stream. Daniel Jones, 101 yards, I think it was. 2 interceptions. The Giants lost 40-0 at home. There is nowhere to go but up. If the Giants score a field goal, that's better. If the Giants score a touchdown, that's better. If the Giants get a safety, that's better. If Danny throws for 150 yards, that's better.
Yeah. As crazy and weird as all that stuff you said, yes.
So you got to just enjoy the game. Let me get to these comments real quick. Somebody's are cracking me up because I talked earlier about how the Giants could wreck their whole draft scenario and drop out of the top 10. Chris says, Tim, you just wrecked my day with that scenario. Matthew says, how come Merritt doesn't see what we see? Jones is not the guy. We're going to talk about Daniel Jones, but I want to stick the topic on Dallas a little bit for a few minutes here. Drake May is the best pocket passer in the draft, but Caleb Williams is a generational talent. We're going to talk about Caleb in a little bit as well. Exactly at half of the season, but they still have a long way to go. Yeah, before we screw up that pick. Good morning, says Kevin. LJ says, what DeVito? It's Tommy DeVito, but we call him Danny till he wins. There would be some good Penix jokes. Yeah, there would be some good Penix jokes.
Yeah.
I see 0 wins with Tommy DeVito. It's Zach. Where is Zach? What does Patrick say? Giants have never played well as front runner players started believing their hype more than New York press. I think that's a little bit of a shot towards. I think there was a shot fired across the bow at Kayvon Thibodeau right now. Zach Attack says, I have the stomach flu right now. You know what, Zach? Your excuses are your own.
Better, brother.
How you feel, brother? How you feel, brother? That was, James said that, not me.
Do your job.
Do your job. Let's see. Joe and Dable need the tank. We got Jeff going. Let's see. Matt says the Giants beat themselves earlier this year. They just need to keep doing that at all costs. Honey Pot, I'm gonna let you jump in later, man. I know you wanted to jump in, but I don't get to talk to James a lot. Let me see. Arteta says, I just can't stand the damn Cowboys. I always tell all the Cowboys fans that I was born in 1984, see 2 Super Bowls from our Giants. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but aren't the Cowboys rings rusty? Our rings are a little rusty too.
No. Their rings are rusty. Ours are starting to get dusty.
Ours are starting to tarnish.
Ours is starting to get dusty. It's just cobwebs are starting to form on. We're not at the rust stage yet.
We're
Not
getting there though.
yet, but
We're getting
it's not as bad as some
not,
other teams.
not at the rust stage. We're getting there. The Giant mantra: win just enough to get screwed. That's the Knicks mantra.
Yeah,
And the Knicks do play this afternoon. The game should be almost over when the Giants start. The Knicks should win today too, but we're going to talk about that.
they're doing pretty good.
Stats for Aziz. Oh, I'm going to give you stats for Aziz Ojulari right now today. 6 plays, 1 hamstring.
Oh God.
What's your stats for Aziz?
No, and a half assisted tackle. He's gonna have 5 assisted tackles.
No, it's going to be 6 plays, 1 hamstring.
No, you're not even giving him the assist.
I am not even giving the assist on the tackle because I love Aziz Ojulari. I think he has all the talent in the world, James. I really do. But talent doesn't mean anything. Like they say, the best ability is availability, and he's never available.
This is true.
I mean, you can get to the quarterback as much as you want, but if you're sitting there getting to the quarterback from the bench, it doesn't help us any. And he is a guy that he is a guy that you want to succeed, because I tell you, at times I see more talent with him than I do with people like Kayvon Thibodeau.
Well, if he was, and you're not wrong, and imagine if he was healthy and consistent, and he was out there with a Kayvon and then with a Sexy Dexy. It's like, oh, maybe you got Banks out there. It's like, okay, you're starting to maybe form some things. Like, we got to look at the rest of the season as like hoping things, the early sightings of things coming together down the line. Like I said, I'm looking for keepers, but I'm also looking for guys who are just going to step up and make plays. And Aziz, unfortunately, his big thing is much like Jones, and forget to play on the field. It's you got to get on the field, and you got to stay on the field.
And that's what's so distressing to me about Aziz Ojulari. Like I said, I think everyone wants to see him be that force. I think everyone wants to see it. And I think he makes someone like Kayvon Thibodeau better.
Yes, definitely.
But go back to his rookie season. He played every game in his rookie season, started 13. He had, 8 sacks, almost 50 tackles. Then he only played 7 games last year, and he still had 5.5 sacks. And then he played 3 games this year, hasn't had any sacks. So he's got 13.5 sacks in 21 games.
That's a crazy stat.
I think you see the talent, you see the ability, you see the speed, you see the wherewithal to get to the quarterback. He has the moves and he understands how to play. He just can't stay on the damn field. It's always the hamstring. It's always I'm thinking I get Ricky Henderson flashbacks with he hurt his hammy. About the hammy. My hammy's not good.
Yeah, it doesn't. He's another Waller. Got to get the hamstring problem. It's
Waller's on the wrong side of 30. Has had hamstring issues for 2 years now. I expect that. I don't expect a guy in his 3rd year. He's only played 21 games. He should be well rested.
Well, let me ask you something. Do you think, because with all the technology and advancements today, you have guys like LeBron James who are doing phenomenal things at his age, right? Phenomenal. Makes me feel like a 60-year-old. But do you think that these young guys are really training and taking care of their bodies in the off season the way guys back in the days?
Yes, I actually think they do more of that. And I see the Zach Super. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I think they actually do more.
Okay.
Because of the fact that you have to remember, especially if you go back to the old days, like in the 80s, these guys had jobs. People think, because they think of football now in 2023, that everyone's a millionaire. Back in the 80s, and sometimes even going to the 90s, your guys that were like 40 to 53 on the roster had jobs in the offseason. Yeah. They still worked. I loved, because I go back to baseball, because Howard Johnson, the third baseman of the Mets, who was part of the 86 World Series team and also won the World Series in 84 with the Tigers. I remember in 88, he was working as a stockbroker in the offseason. So now you make so much money, you have the ability to train year round. And in some regards, I always said it before, I think in some regards, there's more of overtraining than anything else, and overuse.
Okay. The body does need time to rest and repair and recuperate.
The body needs time to rest. And Mr. Belford.
I'm Johnny Wishbone, psychic extraordinaire. If you need me, just think Johnny Wishbone and I come running. Lots and biddles. It's like kibbles and bits, but different. Excuse me. Sorry about it.
I had to play the whole thing. Usually I cut off the sound effect, but I had to play the whole thing today. Because it's Dallas, we got a lot of chats. Oh my God, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm way far behind. Dak is a streaky quarterback, which is bad for the Giants.
Could be bad or good.
It could be bad or good. It could be Dak could literally hit one of. I mean, I was at the game that opening day. Dak did not play great, but it was also part of the weather. Cooks was open on a couple plays where Dak just didn't even see him. I mean, the Giants, they could have scored 60, but there was plays that Dak just missed. So I kind of wonder. I kind of to Zach's point, he could get on a streak where he can go 15 at a 15 for 290, but he can also hit on a streak where he's like 2 for 7 and 2 interceptions.
Well, you know what? Let's hope, because last week, I will say this: last week against Philly, he played good.
He played well.
He played good.
Yeah.
You know, he really did, honestly. So let's hope that he walks into this game saying, you know what, it's the Giants. I didn't play good against them week 1. I'm going to pad my stats. You know, let's hope he goes in there and tries to, like, gunslinger it. And hopefully he throws some balls up for grabs. You know? Like, hey.
I agree. Let's go. Let's get a couple more of these things. I want to still continue to talk about Dallas. OG Knockout says, positive is staying in the top 3 in the draft. That is a positive. Big Blue Forever wants to know whose shoulders are bigger, Tim's or James? We'll have to have a shoulder off when James is here.
We're gonna have a shoulder off.
We're gonna have a shoulder. We're gonna have a shoulder off. I may be old, but I still got big, broad shoulders. So that's from
Tim still works out.
World. What's that?
Tim still works out, and he's not a small guy.
So
don't let the box fool you.
The box.
He's bigger than Schmidt.
No, he made me look like a fucking dwarf. That kills me to this day, because that guy was like, I mean, I thought, you see that he's small in college, or you heard that he was small in college. There's me with JMS.
Yeah, that is a hilarious picture. Right there. Like,
we do look like we're related.
That's your adopted son. That's your nephew.
I love it because I'm there with Big L at the event, and that's Eric Gray behind him. They're at the event with Big L, and someone behind us goes to me, "Oh shit!" I was like, "What?" He goes, "I thought you two were related."
Oh, you guys look alike.
Mr. Arrow coming and says Flott has looked good in spurts. Cordell Flott has looked good in spurts.
Oh yeah,
Darnay Holmes has even gotten on the field.
He has. No, but Flott, especially in the Jets and the other, he had made a couple plays.
He had some tackle. He had some plays last week as well with Adoree Jackson out today, James. And you're going to go up against Lamb. You're going to go up against Cooks. You're going to go up against Gallup. You're going to go up against Turbin. You're going to go up against Pollard. Banks has looked really good as a rookie, and I've said this before. I think one of the hardest positions to play as a rookie outside of the quarterback is cornerback, because you're on an island and you're going to get picked on. And he has had his moments where he has looked phenomenal. He's also had his moments where he's gotten turned around, and you expect that with a rookie. With him now being almost, in some regards, the de facto number 1 corner, what is your confidence level with Hawkins, Flott, Holmes? What's your confidence level going against this Dallas? Because you have to give Dallas credit; they do have a good, a good receiver. They are very loaded at the skill positions.
Listen, Dallas is a good team. They're not a great team, but they're a good team. They have decent pieces. They have a decent quarterback. They have a somewhat comparable coach. Their defense is pretty good, decent at times. They're not a horrible team. No. I know we're in the division and we're giant, and it's our job to throw mud at them, but they're a good team, despite them losing to Arizona. So my confidence level, honestly, you know what? and again, this comes from me just being naive and having an old school mindset, but I come from the school like you, Tim, and a lot of us in the chat. If somebody kicks my ass a few weeks ago, like really kicks my ass and rubs my face in the dirt, and everybody's talking about it, and I get a chance to redeem myself again, I would like to think I'm going to come out and play with a little incentive. So all those guys you mentioned, the whole defense, offense too, but the whole defense, I would think they're going to come out with a little pride today and say, you know what? We don't have our starting quarterback. We don't even have our backup in Tyrod. We got embarrassed opening night. You know, these guys are just going to expect to walk over us. Hell, Vegas, anybody who pay attention to that with 17-point dogs? Hey, let's just go out there and play with reckless abandonment. Let the dogs out and
Why
let's
not?
bite somebody.
No.
So
Let's play well and lose 35-31.
no. I mean, listen, playing with heart. Listen. Don't let movies fool you. Playing with heart will get you so far. Talent sometimes does take over at the end of the day. So yeah, I do think we can make it a competitive game, but I also believe that when the Dallas, puts the foot to the gas and goes, all right.
Sometimes talent screws you too. Sometimes you think you have the overly talented team. I was trying to go back, and I see a question here from Robbie, but I was trying to go back and think of a Giant team since I've been watching that were such underdogs. I think we're 15.5-point underdogs still. That came out and really shocked the world. I mean, I could think of Kent Graham beating the undefeated Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I don't think it was that big of I don't think it was that I mean, it was monumental back then, but compared to Tommy DeVito going into Dallas in his second start, undrafted free agent rookie out of Illinois, I mean, that's I can't think of one. And Robbie had the question. I can't remember a game where we had a little chance of win, not even pre-Phil Simms. Oh, I couldn't think of games pre-Phil Simms. Any game that Craig Morton started.
Great.
Any game that Craig Morton started was a game you had no chance to win. And then Norm Snead would come in and you'd be like, oh, this just isn't any better. So I mean,
well, you know what? No. You know what? We're in the Giants fandom, we get too caught up in our own trauma. I could think of a game where we knew going into it we had no chance to win, even though we psyched ourselves up. Any game that Mike Glennon or Jake Fromm started just a couple years ago, you had no chance to win that game.
Yeah, you're right.
You had no shot to win that game.
You're right. The Zach Attack coming in with a big old super chat saying that Dallas have 3 devastating losses a year. They tend to lose to teams they shouldn't. The Giants are 17.5 dogs. History says the Giants will win the game.
God.
17.5. Yeah, I mean,
my heart.
You are 17.5-point dogs in this game.
17.5 dogs.
17.5 dogs. I didn't know we were 17.5. LJ says, don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Make sure you do that. Skyline dropping in saying, hey, everyone. Tim, what do you think McFadden needs to do to be a better player? You know what I like about McFadden? He's always around the ball.
Yeah.
And I think that as any player, he puts himself in a position where he can make the plays. Now, everyone thinks he's a small guy, but he's still 6'2", 230. He's not a small guy.
He does, he does look small, I guess, when he's standing on the field compared to other guys. He does look, but he's still an NFL player, and we're not getting the real perception of what he looks like. If he's standing next to some of us, he's a giant.
Yeah. Now he had 59 tackles last year. He's got 54 this year. I like the fact that he's got a 32 solos to 22 assists. One of the things I really like is he has 8 tackles for losses, and he still has 5 quarterback hits with only having half a sack. And he does have an interception as well. What I'd like to see him do better. Oh, he also has 2 fumble recoveries. What I'd like to see him do better, I would like to see him go after the quarterback a little bit more. We've seen him in the blitz. We've seen him in the win. I'd like to see him get to the quarterback.
It's a little scud miss.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see him play better in coverage. I think if you want to pick a focal point where he may need some help, if you have a running back or a tight end coming out of the backfield and you have McFadden on him, I'm not not overly filled with confidence.
I'm gonna give you a sleeper name today, everybody in the chat, for somebody. You know who's gonna smoke us today? And I only know this. Shout out to my cousin, my boys, Devin, if you're watching. They do fantasy. You know who's gonna kill us today? Ferguson.
Tight end.
And I don't know why.
Jake,
the tight end. I think he's gonna kill us today. Like, he's gonna probably have 2 touchdowns. I could see maybe like close to it, like 100 yards.
You know what the thing about? He's got 32 catches right now for 328 yards, 10.33 touchdowns. He had 2 receptions for 11 yards last week against us. He did have 91 yards against the Eagles and a touchdown with a big 40-yard reception. One thing I will say about Bobby Okereke, who's really come on with McFadden, is I have that feeling. Does anyone remember Williams, the old linebacker from the from the Giants Super Bowl win? The kid out of Florida, it's not out of Florida. What's his name? I can't remember his name. The number 57. He played for us in 2011. Helped us win the Super Bowl. Came out of a small.
Jay Williams, Jay Williams.
Davis Williams. I can't remember his names.
That's not the dude that picked up the fumble in the 49er game, was it?
No, that's actually Tank Daniels.
Okay. All right. Sorry, y'all.
What are you doing? And you want to know why I know that? Hold on, wait a minute. Somewhere.
We got memorabilia.
Talk for a minute, James.
All right. Yeah. I thought it was the dude from the San Francisco game, from the playoff game. He picked up he knocked out the fumble, and one of our wide receivers picked it up. That Williams guy, Jaquan Williams. Is it that guy?
Williams. Because I only know this because here is an autographed Tank Williams jersey.
Yeah.
Autographed Tank Williams jersey. That's the only reason I know that.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the only reason. I actually met him. I met him. There was some event we were at, and he was signing things, and no one was going up to him.
You wanted to be the guy like, oh, this guy.
I was a nice guy, so I went up and talked to him, and I ended up with an autographed jersey. So that's the reason why.
Things worked out.
That's the only reason why I know that little tidbit of history. OG with the big old super chat says, thinking back a couple of years ago, Chase Young, Tank Fez, the Giants disappointed then. I have a feeling there's 1 or 2 more wins on this team. The Giants know how to disappoint on both ends.
They do.
They do. But
we just don't.
This is a little different because we still ended up with Andrew Thomas. But
it's it's like I heard. I don't even know why I'm going to say this and piss ourselves off, but I heard a content creator say they were doing a double stream, so that'll give you a hint on who it is. I'm not in a slander mood today. I'm trying to be peaceful. Namaste. So the guy goes, "Hey, you know what? I don't think we're drafting Penix at all. I don't see the Giants drafting Penix because he's black. But I don't, and he's not light-skinned black. But I don't see that happening, And I can say that because I'm black.
You can say that.
So he literally goes, I'm excited to see more than Penix, McCarthy on Michigan. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, McCarthy on Michigan. So
I don't have a problem with McCarthy from Michigan. I just don't think he's on the same level as Penix, May, or Williams.
Thank you. And that's why I brought it up. Because going forward, we need to stop looking at guys who, he has potential. Like, yes, you want potential, but you also want something that's concrete, something that you can see, you can grab it, you can put it in a bag, you can take it home, you can cook it. It's real. Not stop all this potential, stop all this. Well, you know what? If he develops in another, stop. We want a guy that, yes, he's maybe needs a little, shining up and molding and all that, like a Penix or like a Drake. As good as Drake May and Caleb is, they're still going to need a little fine tuning. Caleb, I love him, but he He runs around like it's the XFL with the ball out, like ball security, brother, ball security.
We're gonna talk about Caleb. Let's stay on Dallas right now. We're gonna talk about Caleb in a minute because I do want to talk about Caleb Williams. I want to talk about a couple things. I also want to thank the Big Don dropping in the gifts in reference to the OG memberships for Online Big Blue Sports Entertainment. You get your videos early. You're also going to start getting, I think on Wednesday, early previews of the 3&D, the 2023 New York Knicks season, new podcast that I got coming out. You're going to be getting early access to that as well. We got to thank Big Don because Big Don is always supporting the channel, and we have to have Big Don on soon.
Big Don.
I miss Don. I miss Big Don. Let's see here. I want to run through a bunch of these as well because there's the gift of memberships from the Big Don. You got to live big. Thanks, Don. We always love Don. Blackbird McKnight said, Tim, it was the Bucks versus the Panthers last year that had us at least 15 to 17 point dogs. Spread larger than the Panthers, ended up winning 14-3. Yeah, but we still have Daniel Jones in that game. Let's see here. There we go. Yes, it was Williams. Yep. Hey, what's up? Yep, what's up, Christopher? How you doing, my friend? Mr. Colin. Chase Blackburn actually came in and saved the 2011 Giants. We got Mr. Emmanuel Reese saying
that guy, man.
Where we better not mess up the draft position. Giants will beat Washington. I don't think the Giants are going to beat Washington in Washington.
No. I don't know. So many of my friends are saying that too. Like, oh, we're going to get a win. Do you guys remember the game against Washington? We technically barely beat them. That game went down to the fourth quarter, down to the last couple minutes.
It actually went down to the last play where Darnay Holmes mugged the wide receiver in the end zone.
And that was with Tyrod actually making some plays down the field.
Oh, you meant this year. I was talking last year.
No, I'm talking about this year.
I'm talking last year when he got mugged in the end zone because even the NFL came out and said, okay, yeah, it was a penalty. When you grab a guy's arms and hold them behind his back and the ball hits him in the chest because he's doing one of these because his arms are being held, yeah, that's a penalty.
But think about what you just said. You're talking about last year where we also tied them. I'm talking about this year. So I don't know why people think we're heads and shoulders above Washington just because that's the only team we've managed to beat with somewhat consistency in the past 4 years. But they're going to beat us when we play them. They are.
Don't forget to hit the like button, everybody. I want to make sure everybody knows.
Hit that like button as soon as you come in the club.
As soon as you sound in the club, OG. I love OG Knockout because he'll say it. Bad dog.
All right, so it was actually the other guy. Big OG.
That's what I love it. I mean, there's just certain people that would be like, bad dog.
Big Devo.
Listen, I got in trouble the other day.
You were in trouble?
No. I know it's shocking. I know, never in a million years you think I would get myself in trouble. That I called out content creators who so quickly jumped off the Daniel Jones train, and now we're trying to go with revisionistic history, saying we always wanted to draft Williams.
Oh my God, that you know what? That's one thing I have to say, OG. Them two were sitting up there, and I watched it for 5 minutes, and I had to turn it off and go cut some wood. They were sitting there. Well, we've always talked about Caleb Williams. We've always wanted Caleb Williams. I've always talked about what? No, God, this revisionist history with men.
Didn't Bad Dog do an apology video to Daniel Jones? I'm just being honest. I mean, like I said, people will get on my ass about Malik Willis. And I always say, listen, I'm not giving up on Malik Willis because I don't know what he's going to be because he doesn't really fit in the system, and he's not a Vrabel guy, and he's only had 4 starts. And if you had 4 years of Daniel Jones, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm wrong or say I'm right about it. But at the end of the day, I'm also not going to back off the fact that I still think that Malik Willis still has the potential to be a good quarterback in the NFL, even though he's in a bad situation vis-a-vis someone like Daniel Jones.
Let me say this, and this is going to show the common sense factor, right? Not with us, because I know everybody here in the chat. Salute everybody out there. We all have brains. But let's say this. If Malik Willis becomes a certified backup to somewhat starter, like a Tyrod Taylor for the next 10 years, right?
It's a success.
But Daniel Jones is out the league. Let's say Will Levis is out the league in a couple years. A lot of these guys coming, Sam Darnold out the league. Let's say Zach Wilson's out the league. A couple of these. Wouldn't that mean he's more of a success story than the guy we picked at number 6? If you keep a job for 8 to 10 years in the NFL, even if it is as a backup, but you come in as a starter sometimes, you're comparable, you can win some games. Teams keep picking you up like a Tyrod Taylor because you can play. Isn't that a success story? From a guy coming from Liberty?
I would think that it's success. But people, what they don't get is the fact that I'm not leaving the Daniel Jones. The Malik Willis train just because he hasn't played well yet, just because he's shown flashes, because the fact that he's only played in 4 games.
He hasn't played. Played well. He hasn't played.
And then people talk about how Daniel Jones doesn't have this. Daniel Jones doesn't have this. Last year, Malik Willis had the worst offensive line, and he had the Robert Wood Jr. was their big starting wide receiver last year because the rookie got hurt and didn't play well. So you don't sit there, and I don't sit there and tell you, well, he didn't play well because of this, and this. But if you're making the same excuses for Daniel Jones, wouldn't that still also go towards other quarterbacks?
It's a different metric system for some of us out here. I'm not going to get into it, but it's a different metric system. I don't know what grading system people are using, but I don't understand how a guy in his 5th year who can't stay healthy, is not consistent, and he just gets all this outpouring of love and emotion. And I mean, he doesn't even have any, other than his leg. If you took the fact that Daniel Jones is athletic, and that's stupid to say because he's in the NFL.
Right.
But if
Daniel Jones is very athletic.
but that's silly, man. That's silly to say. That's like saying going to a Caribbean country and it's going to be warm there. It's like, okay. It's like, you're in the NFL. You're supposed to be athletic. Even the guys who are 300 pounds, some of you don't believe it, but they'll probably run you down in a short distance.
They are very athletic, yes.
They're very athletic. So if you take away the fact that the guy can scoot out the pocket a little bit, what's special about him? I don't understand why. Like Justin Fields, who again I root for, Ohio State. I get it, but he's like, people are like, oh well, he's done because he's not playing, and the Bears have Bagat, and they're gonna get their number 1 pick from the Panthers, and they're gonna move on from him, and it's like.
But then it's funny though, because if you look at Justin Fields' season last year, he had more touchdowns, he had more total yardage.
His 2 games this year, though, I think he lost both of them, but he had 300 yards, and he lost. I mean, he did throw an interception in the 4th quarter, which that definitely is on him. But he had 2 games this year that were better than any 2 games Daniel Jones had. And I'm tired of hearing about the half in Arizona. I'm so tired of hearing about that. You sound like the guy from 1945 who finally got the girl from the ball, and you danced with her one time, and then you got her number, but then it was a fake number, and you never talked to her again. And you keep talking about this girl from 40 years ago. I don't care about the half in Arizona. Like the guys played horrible this year. Horrible.
Wait a minute. I got something here. Hold on.
Just a magnificent performance. I can't understate how good he was. Like I said in my post-game video, I'm not calling the guy Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to say that he's Josh Allen. I'm not going to say that he's Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. But that performance was that type. That was an elite performance. He literally carried the team on his shoulders.
Because we just forgot about Saquon Barkley, everyone else. That's okay. Hey, wait a minute. It's the worst defense I've seen in the playoffs in 30 years, but that's okay. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's this, but now I'm going to tell you why he is. And I'm going to make a whole video apologizing. You know what the good thing about me is? You know what the good thing about me is?
You keep it real. You're a good guy.
I don't apologize.
Oh, that's the good thing about you.
The good thing about me. I don't apologize. Even when I'm wrong. No, I do apologize when I'm wrong. But I mean, but here's the thing. After the Minnesota game, I did a video and I gave Daniel Jones all the credit in the world. And I said, but you know what now is he's got to go up and do it in Philadelphia versus Philadelphia. Show me something there. And that's what I said. And people jumped all over me because they're like, well, you're just not giving him credit. I'm like, no, I gave him credit. I gave him credit. I always talk about the movie Can't Hardly Wait. It's a teen flick. And it's about this girl that's dating the guy in high school. And they break up right as high school's over. And one of her friend looks at her and says, how can you break up with him? He is the most popular guy in high school. She looks at her and says, and high school's over.
Ooh,
that's the same thing with the Minnesota game. I gave him the credit that day. Monday rolls around. You got Philly. Show me something, Bama. Don't show me one game. Show me a progression of games before I sit there and tell you he is the guy, he is not the guy. We should give him the $160 million. Because I watched 4 years at that point in time and didn't see it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, to even make the compare, like the fact that he even said, well, he's not Patrick Mahomes, then why are you bringing up Patrick Mahomes? Well, he's not Josh Allen. Why are you bringing up
Josh Allen?
Yeah, like, why are you even bringing those things up?
We love Bad Dog here. We love that.
I love that guy, man. I really do. Like, I've even had
but wait a minute.
Tell me why in the comment section. I don't want to hear he's got no wide receivers. I don't want to hear Saquon Barkley's hurt. I don't want to hear the offensive line's no good. I don't want to hear Jason Garrett's play calling's no good. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear excuses. I want you to tell me what you see from Daniel Jones as to why you think this guy can lead us to a Super Bowl championship. Because when you're talking about a franchise quarterback, you're talking about a quarterback that can lead you to a Super Bowl championship. Not a quarterback that can win a division, not a quarterback that can go 7-9, not a quarterback that may win one playoff game in his career. A guy that can lead your team to a Super Bowl.
That was him before the we love Daniel Jones. Mike Glenn with the big old super chat said these two are backing at their positions while still making excuses, plus standing by him, being signs of the contract saying who else could quarterback the team. Baker Mayfield, Mitchell Trubisky, Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota. And then you would have had all that cap space. You could have gone out and signed some guys on the offensive line. You wouldn't have traded
King of the almost sack.
Because of the fact that you only had $500,000 in cap space, and you probably wouldn't have tagged Saquon Barkley, and you would have paid him, which means you would have freed up more cap space. And honestly, you would probably have more wins now than you do at this moment in time.
Definitely. I mean, think about just the simple thing which you said. Let's say Daniel Jones, God forbid, he would have got hurt in the offseason, like right before the season started. And we would have had to go with Tyrod. We would have a much better record than we do right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say that for sure. I'm not a genie. I'm not God or anything, but just look at the way he played coming in. We almost beat a Buffalo team that's way more talented than us in Buffalo in primetime. That came down to the last play of the game. Then we beat a division rival. And then we were playing our inner city rival, and he gets hurt. But I almost feel like if he played in the Jets game, the whole game, we would have won that game based off all that, how that game went. And all we needed was a guy to complete maybe 2 or 3 passes in the fourth quarter, you know?
That's it. Don't forget to like, guys. Hit
that like button.
Todd Taylor says, yes, Willis can be called a bust after 2 games, but Daniel Jones can't be called a bust after 4 years.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I find that hilarious.
Big T Brown in the house. Hey, what's up from checking in from Vegas? Hopefully you made that point. You took the Giants in the 17.5. Let's see here.
He did.
Willis needs a quarterback friendly coach and a system to succeed, and he does. Mike Vrabel is not a Malik Willis guy.
The other thing.
Literally, the guy told him. And he said it in his press conference that he told him during Malik Willis' second preseason game, do not leave the pocket. You are not allowed to leave the pocket. You are not allowed to do what makes you special. Because we want you to be a pocket passer.
Now
Will Levis is a clone of Ryan Tannehill. Will Levis is a Tannehill clone. So, and you know what I also think it's funny. I'm going to go the Blake Willis thing. You know what I think is really funny about this? So many Giant fans before the trade deadline was like, well, maybe we should trade for Blake Willis.
Oh, I saw that. There was definitely a little up curve of, hey, getting Willis. Maybe we could get him. The Titans don't seem like they really want him. Maybe we could get him for cheap.
Mr. Reese says, I love how DJ lovers are saying the only reason we should have moved him is because he can't stay healthy. They disregard the terrible play. I want to talk about Dallas, though. But I want to get into some of these other. LJ says Malik needs a San Francisco Philly type system. He is athletic with a strong arm, tailor made for our RPO as well. He really is. He just got to get better in his decision making. If you want to be honest about Malik Willis, one of his issues is his decision making. He's got good, and he's got to get better with ball security. He's got some of the fumbleitis, so he's got to get. I think those are the things that are keeping him out of the lineup or kept him out of the lineup for Vrabel. But Vrabel did him dirty. I mean, he literally had him play every preseason game. He did everything he needed to do to win that second spot as a starter or as a backup. And then Will Levis comes in and starts the game when Tannehill goes down. He threw for the 4 touchdowns, but then he came back to earth next week. So I mean, it's just not a fit in Tennessee. I mean, I said that when Tennessee drafted him, I said I don't see it because he just doesn't fit the system. He doesn't fit the Vrabel mold. And then you fire the guy that drafted him and the offensive coordinator. So I mean, it's one half does another. OG Knockout says Bill Parcells would have done with Daniel Jones after 1 year because he's too soft. I'm talking about feelings being hurt. Parcells alone would have killed Daniel Jones in practice. We talked about that. How Bill Parcells would go to guys before practice, and it usually was Lawrence Taylor and Phil Simms. He wrote about this in his book and told them, I am going to ride your ass today. I'm going to ride your ass like Zorro, no matter what you do. You do everything right, I'm going to be on your ass all day today. And he was doing it to send a message to his rest of his teammates that he could get on people like Lawrence Taylor. He could get on people like Phil Simms. And these guys would just take it, and they understood. And he picked them because he knew they had the mental fortitude to take the abuse.
Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, same thing. Maybe he got a little of that from Bill. Tim Duncan would say he would ream him out in front of everybody. That way, Tony Parker, Manu, anybody else, you can't say anything. Because he's screaming on Big Timmy, the franchise. And would take it and do whatever Pop asks.
Yeah, that was it. Chris, what does C. Sanders says? Most people root for him because he is in such a bad situation that they wanted him to succeed. He had 3 head coaches in 4 years, no talent around him, and all we know is he would. All right, Phil Simms, Morehead State, 79. He had to deal with Ray Perkins. And then he had to deal with, I can't remember who was the coach before. What's his name? Musburger or Armsburger. Until he finally ran into Bill Parcells, had no talent, had all these injuries, and he still won 1 Super Bowl and was going on to a 2nd Super Bowl. And we talk about Eli Manning, who literally in 2011 had the worst ranked offensive line in the entire league, almost got himself killed in San Francisco. One play we've talked about before, he's got his head this way with the turf hanging out. He picked himself off the turf and throws the game-winning touchdown. It's one half dozen another. I was never rooting against Daniel Jones, but all I'm going to say is this. It was time to move on. It is time to move on. Even OG says for 8 good games Daniel Jones played in 5 years, I give him his props. But for the 8 games, they all came in different years.
And 4 of those are against Washington. 2 of those are against Minnesota. And I almost want to say I could remember all of his games. Tampa, he played pretty good in. And there's one other one out there, but whatever. But yeah, you're right. It's like 8 games. It's like 8-9 games.
And there's one other one. Mr. Sanders says after Jones had his first neck injury, he never played the same. And who can blame him? And then you should have quit. Oh, did you see the super sticker? I'm sorry, Don. I did see the super sticker. I had it up for a while. I apologize. Big Don dropping the super sticker because everyone knows I love the some super stickers. I've always loved stickers since high school. Not high school. Yeah, I had stickers all over my Trapper Keeper in high school. people are going to be like, you might want to Google what the hell Trapper Keeper is. I like how
Listen,
Blackbird.
I think most of us had some stickers on there, whether it was football, basketball, cars.
I always had the Giant stickers on there. But thank you, Big Don. I thought I had it up there for a while, and I thought I acknowledged it. I do apologize. Blackbird wanted to know if it was Fist Vegas. We're not going to talk any more about Giant content creators.
No, I'm not even doing that.
Davey says, "Hey Tim, your friend here, his hair is done. Nice that I'm jealous because I lost mine. I'm married with the kids playing football on AstroTurf. Are you to have the bounce have the same knee problems? I got terrible knees. I don't like when it's cold. My knees are like. I'm actually looking to buy land in Tennessee because I want to live there. But I don't want to live there now. I want to live there like in 10 years, 15 years. And I want to just have like a plot of land that I could just take a trailer and just put the trailer there and drink beer and shoot guns in the backyard.
Sounds like a good plan.
And then when it gets cold, I pack the shit up and I go to Florida. OG not gets this. Carl Banks, Howard Cross, know damn well where there've been a problem with the Daniel Jones being the quarterback in the 80s and 90s. They would defend him like he has all the potential we are not seeing. I know you. I'm not going to get into you and Howard Cross.
Yeah. That night, I had to leave too. I thought I was going to.
I'm not going to get into James and Howard Cross and how there may have been an incident in the coaches club with James Williams.
I didn't want to do that to you because it's like, oh, I bring my black friend here and you cause a disturbance and you got the 4 armed security guards throwing you out like Jazzy Jeff and Uncle Carl.
I think the best thing was that game, and I still think it's funny. And I'm going to tell the joke, and people are going to say, "Well, that's just racist." We're sitting in the stands. James and I were walking up to our seats, and we were in the coaches club, but we were in the very last row of the coaches club, and it's right next to the wall, which is really nice. It's right next to the wall, so you got nobody behind you except for the people that are in the suites. And James and I sit down in our seats, and we look to the left and we look to the right, and what do we see?
Oh, you know what we saw.
Well, you tell them. What do we say?
Oh, you don't want to say. They had all the brothers in the back row, and I'm looking around. I'm like, Tim, did you got the Apollo seats? These are the Apollo seats.
James looks to the left, he looks to the right, and goes, "Uh-huh." I said, "What?" He goes, "We're sitting in the back."
We were. Back row.
I was like, oh my! And it was funny because it didn't dawn on me what you were talking about until I saw who was sitting over there, and I'm like, oh Jesus! It's like I'm in the racist section.
It wasn't until those cool dudes who sat next to me, who I thought they were going to be annoying, but they ended up being cool, especially once they got drunk. Yeah, they were really cool.
Oh, I didn't get. Sorry, Eric. Let's get to Eric's super chat though. This isn't 2020. Hindsight, we should have moved on from 26. I think if you would have moved on from 26, James, we would have 0 shot today. I think the only way we win today, seriously, is if Saquon Barkley runs for like 200 yards, or maybe has 150 yards rushing and another 80 passing. I mean, pass receiving.
My only pushback on that is that Dallas Dan Quinn, they know that. You know, like I'm pretty sure he knows, like, oh, we're gonna get a heavy dose of 26 today. You know, I would assume they've been prepping for that. You know, some sweeps, some screens. Why don't we do screens?
I've actually thought about this, and I've thought about how to get around that with Saquon Barkley. And I was thinking about it for a couple of days now, and I was trying to think of how can the Giants game plan so the Cowboys aren't focusing on 26. We change his number to 28. There we go. This way they can't focus on 26, 200 yards. We win this game.
We need to pull a Mighty Ducks and have them swap jerseys.
We pull a Mighty Ducks, have them swap jerseys. They won't know it hit them. They'll be like, who the hell is 28?
They'll be like, that's not Matt Breida. That's Saquon. Micah, get out there.
we really screw it up. And we give him like 64. And they'll be like, we have number 64 in the backfield. A little confusing here. Dallas doesn't know what to do. See?
Like, who is that? Who is that guy?
Who is that?
Saquon, Saquon's thighs, but I don't know who that is.
Don't forget the like button. LJ says, and seriously, we are not looking at the quarterback as the reason why we had so many coaches. Bad coaches get quarterbacks fired. T. Brad says that's true. If Daniel Jones played against Washington every week, he would be a franchise quarterback. He's not wrong. Mr. Albert says, I think you are thinking of the Saints game, James. That's when the Saints turned into the Cardinals in the second half, and Jones games. Typical false hope game. You were right. You are 100% right there. David Pierce says, if we're picking for the Bears, I would take Harrison Jr. and the Notre Dame lineman in the first round. You know, I don't want to get how do I get a membership? Mr. McCormick, if you want to get a membership, there should be a button there that says get a membership.
Yeah.
Gotta go into the thing for the memberships. Why are you asking me like I know? Oh, right there.
Go to his page.
If you go look in the bottom of the screen where it says Online Big Blue Sports Entertainment, it says join. You just click on join, and you can pay $1.99 or maybe Big Don will drop some memberships. This is craziness to me, James. And I need you to talk me off the ledge a second. I want to get back to Dallas.
Okay.
I was on Twitter.
Again, you going into space.
You should know. You should know immediately when I say I was on Twitter. This is going to be a stupid question. And there are people that want to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. over a quarterback. And then my question is this: who the hell's going to throw him the ball? When Tyrod Taylor went down, Jalen Hyatt was sitting there like, "Fuck, what the hell, man?" And then Tommy DeVito threw him the ball, and I think he dropped that one because like I said, he didn't know it was coming.
Oh my God!
Why throw me the ball? Sorry.
Poor Hyatt, man.
But how could you even consider drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. over a quarterback? I'm being honest. I'm being serious. Like I said, and this was a poll, and I can't remember what person did it, but it was a poll, and he won I think it was 53 for him. And then a 23 for Caleb Williams and 13 for Drake May. But how?
I was talking about this with a certain someone last night.
Look out for the bagel.
She's cleaning the Keurig. She just have a coffee pot. But did you hear that? Shut up from the wall.
Yeah.
But
I'm waiting for the shoe. But explain it.
So we're in this era. We're in this era where, especially on social media, where people don't find people who have different opinions. You find like-minded people. Right. That way, when you say your crazy rhetoric, there's another 10 people coming and going, yeah. So online, first of all, social media is just a weird place to me. Twitter is a weird place to me, even though I venture in there with my hazmat suit once in a while. So if you're in this weird corner of Giants fandom, and you have certain people who are in that weird corner with you, when you say something crazy like, we should take a wide receiver in the first round because that'll help Daniel Jones when he comes back from his ACL injury, and that'll help him win comeback player of the year. You have about 100 people going, yeah!
I saw that. That was kind of crazy.
There's people pick these pockets or these circles or these whatever where everybody has the same mind state. And if you walk up in there with your little Tim flag and you're like, hey, common sense and logic, no, get out.
We don't want that here.
No, so that's what you're talking about is just what's been happening in life, especially in sports, where people they find a cause, where rooting for Daniel Jones or drafting Marvin Harrison, or it's all the coach's fault, or and then you get other people, they come to it and they go, yeah, you know what, that guy thinks like me. I'm gonna follow him or her. I'm not gonna question anything.
I agree. So it's the group thing.
I don't know, man.
It's the mind thing. I want to talk about Zach Attack says, knowing the Giants, Kafka will go pass happy. You know what's funny? And I know it's defies logic. I know it flies in the face of reason because you have a rookie undrafted free agent quarterback out of Illinois as your starter. But wouldn't you want to do something different? Because the fact that we said we don't want them focusing on 64, who is some guy named Markley. who the Giants just signed, so the Dallas Cowboys never figured out. But if you looked at Tommy DeVito against the Raiders, and I know the Raiders defense is not as good as the Cowboys defense, and their secondary is not as good as Cowboys secondary, even with the loss of Diggs. Wouldn't you want to do something different? Wouldn't you want to maybe? You're probably going to lose anyways, James. So what's the difference if you lose 35-17 or if you lose 35-7? Why not throw? You have talent. You have speed. You're lacking Waller, but you still have Hyatt who can get behind the secondary. You still have Slayton. Isaiah Hodgins. I know he was going to be the greatest wide receiver.
Forget that guy.
You still have a Sterling Shepard. You still have a Bellinger. You still have Barkley out of the backfield. To your point, why don't you run some screens? Why not just go with an up? If I'm the Giants, that's if I'm the Giants. I go up tempo passing attack. I come out. I already know I'm good. I know my defense is pretty good. I know my defense can play well in spurts. I also know that the defense disappears at times. But for the first half, think about this, James. I go up tempo, no huddle, short passing attack. Kind of lull them in. Think about this. You kind of lull them in a little bit.
Okay.
Bring you go with the short passing game. So you're going to lull them in a little bit. And then once you lull them in a little bit, because a 4-yard pass is just as good as a 4-yard run. It's still 4 yards. And if you average 4 yards a play over 3 plays, that's 12 yards. That's a first down. Why not bring them in a little bit, go short style passing? When the secondary starts creeping up, because you're going to get all these 4-yard passes, you try to get Hyatt behind the defense and you take that shot. There was a couple balls in Vegas that DeVito threw that actually looked pretty good. I mean, he actually had a couple tight spirals. Yeah. So you can get him to fit the ball in a window and get Hyatt behind the defense if you lull them in and you keep it up tempo so they can't substitute. You can't run it all game long, but you run it in the first half. You run it maybe for a series here and there and try to mix it up, because we are so ingrained with running Barkley. But why not? Why not just do something different?
I mean, you're right. We should be throwing the kitchen sink at them. You know, not the double end around reverse on the 2-point conversion kitchen sink, but we should be throwing the kitchen sink. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know why at times there have been games where the pass rush has been so incredible. Dallas game first week, and we didn't do any screens.
None.
We didn't do any screens. You have Saquon Barkley. Get him the ball in a little space, some blockers in front of him. See what happens.
Now, I will say this: to develop a screen that does take more time in the pocket. Most people think that if you're gonna set up for a screen, it's a quick pass. A lot of times, developing a screen takes a little bit of time to set up the play. So maybe, I'm only thinking hindsight here that maybe they're just trying to, limit the pressure. Now, to your point, also, if you do the screen and basically when you're doing the screen, everyone knows this, you're kind of letting the rush come at you, because then what you're going to want to do is you're going to try to create the mismatch with blockers on the outside. If you're running a proper screen, you're going to try to create that mismatch, which is going to give you the big play. But to your point, why not use what we have? And what we have effectively is a running back. You have some speed on the outside in in Slayton. And I know, I love that bubble. I don't know how the fuck that bubble comes up. That is the greatest bubble in the world.
I'm sorry, y'all. I was sitting there. I was like, what the hell is that? It's like
every once in a while, actually, it's just me. I just do this. Nobody's looking. But why not? I mean, is that something that the Giants could think about?
I think that part of the issue is when we sit here and we watch games and we go, well, why didn't we do this? Like obviously hindsight's always 2020, but there's been so many games in the last 2 years. I'll just say 2 years or 3 years where we're like, well, how come we didn't do this? How come we didn't do that? How come we didn't do this? And I think the honest reason is that because this coaching staff obviously sees this team behind the scenes and in practice, and they don't feel confident in the players executing the play. I really don't have another logical, or I'm not just going to throw some crap at the wall here just to try to make myself seem smart. But I really think that they don't have confidence in the players executing some of these plays. Even though at times we've done some crazy plays where it's like, well, why would you pick there to do that? I mean, you know what today? You know what I would do today? I would do a goddamn flea flicker. Who cares? Like let's just try something different. Like they would never expect us to do a flea flicker with.
I got an idea. Double reverse on a 2-point conversion.
That I'll be honest. That might have made me more angry than the damn what Joe Judge did.
2 victory formations in a row.
What Joe Judge did was just like, what are you doing? But we're actually trying to complete a 2-point conversion in the game, and your best play that you could think of is a double reverse end. What?
I laugh because if you looked at I'm not Kafka. If you looked at Dable's face,
Dable was like, "I'm gonna kill that guy."
Like, what the fuck, man?
I want to kill that guy up there.
What are you doing? OG says if Tyrod Taylor was Daniel Jones size, they could keep him 2 more years. Tyrod Taylor's problem is he's too small. Tyrod Taylor's problem is he's 34 years old. He's at the end of his career.
He's old and he gets hurt a lot.
Tim, do you want to win today? You got to sing "I'm a Loser" from the Beatles. That's actually a good song. Let's see here. I learned my lesson. I learned my X lesson.
You went into space.
You went into space. What were you thinking? You don't go on the Twitter. That's what I do.
You saw Jeff Bezos up there.
Zagatek said DeVito took a deep shot. It didn't work, but he tried. You're right, he did. That's what I'm saying. He's just gotta, like you said, it's just. What does Chris say? Chris says this is a simple phrase. You can't fix stupid.
No, that's true.
I used to love that one. Let's see here. University of Illinois used to be a quarterback U until Jeff George showed up. We actually talked about Jeff George last stream about him going to the University of Illinois, becoming the number 1 overall quarterback. I think it was to the Colts, then he went to the Raiders, and he went everywhere. Jeff George was literally like, I've said it before, Jeff George was like dog shit. He was literally everywhere. Richard says a bad quarterback like Daniel Jones will always make the line and weapons look more dysfunctional. You're right. We got the big L. Come on, guys. Let's get Caleb. Adam says, I was at the game. Danny DeVito's passes were slow and late. Watch receivers get blown up by the defenders or even worse, interception. Just saying. No, Adam, I don't disagree.
I'm sorry. I got to be Hodgins. I'm sorry, man. That might have been the not highlight of the year when the ball comes, right? In slow motion. He catches it. And then he looks over and the guy and just boo boo boo.
It's gone. that is not a play you want. That's not a play you want to see. Listen, I have. That is not a play you want to see. And like I said, Isaiah come here and wreck the world. Remember?
Yeah, I know he's going to be the great savior, like Richie James.
Wait a minute. What does Carl Banks think? He sucks.
No. Carl Banks was going. Hey, you got to understand that he's running a route, and we don't know the route.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, James. If you're gonna do it here, how do I turn the? I don't know. There's a way I can. There's a way I can turn your camera off. I don't know how to do it, so you can be Carl Banks. There is a way you can do it, but I don't know how to do it. I will say this about Tommy DeVito. We've talked about the late great Danny DeVito, Tommy DeVito. And if you look, I always show this picture because if you look, he's got kind of a wind up. He's kind of, if you watch DeVito throw, he is a classic passer, I would say. If you go back to the 80s and, in some parts of the 90s before people started doing the 3/4 motion, so you started doing the sideline motion, he is a classic baseball pitching style quarterback in reference to his windup. Now, the only problem is, and to Adam's point, it's slow to develop. He's not a guy. He's not a Dan Marino. He doesn't have a flick of the wrist. He doesn't have that quick motion. He's got a kind of a wind-up motion, which at times, if a wide receiver has a window, he doesn't get the ball to that wide receiver as quickly as possible if there's a defender closing for contact.
Sounds like somebody else.
Yeah. Now, yeah, exactly. Sounds like just like someone else. Now, the Isaiah drop. That was actually a good pass. I mean, that was...
yo. If you've never played football, I've had that moment where you're like, oh my God, I'm about to get boom, 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 boom. Oh my, I'm sorry, y'all. That just killed me.
I remember when I played linebacker and safety. And then we were short one. I've told this story a long time ago. We were short one game, a tight end. We didn't have a tight end. So the tight end, the position coach came up to me and said, "Hey, can you play tight end? All we need you to do is," and we only have like 4 minutes left in the game. We were already down by 20. And he was like, could you just play tight end? All we need you to do is block.
Cover the edge.
Sure. I could do that. So we ran a couple run plays, and because I thought we were just going to run out the clock. So I did what I was supposed to do. And then he was like, we're going to send you, and I love it because I can't remember the quarterback's name because he looks at me and goes, "We're going to send you out on a flare." And I was like, okay.
It's like, okay.
So he hikes the ball. I run my pattern. I turn around. The ball's coming at me. I looked at it. And now people always ask me, because I used to have a little man with the number 20. My number was 20. So literally the ball hit me between the 2 and the 0, hit me right in the chest, and I do one of these.
Oh,
I looked down. James Point, namaste. That's what I did at that point in time. I'm looking at the ball on the ground.
Like, damn it.
And everyone's like, "You should have caught it." And I said, "Well, I really didn't think he was going to throw it to me."
It's like, listen, I thought I was just going out as a decoy.
That's what I thought. And it was funny because when I saw the Isaiah play, I thought the same thing. I said, I remember doing that. I remember doing that, looking down. There was a ball on the ground. I'm like, well, shit. I should have caught that.
That play is our entire season. If you really analyze that, it's our entire season in one play.
Oh, no. I think our entire season in one play, you have a athletic defensive lineman / linebacker outside by himself. The quarterback literally throws him the ball.
God,
hits him in the chest. He's got a wide open field. Luckily, we only took him, in the top 5. Doesn't catch the ball. It's a drop to the ground.
Listen, in football, basketball, baseball, hockey, lacrosse, tennis, whatever, there's people called ball hawks, and there's people who just make plays when the plays are there to be made.
Yeah. You
got to take advantage of situations in life and sports. When it's there for you, you got to take advantage. And that guy was wide open, had a chance to break the game open. Nobody was around, and he's too busy thinking about, what am I going to post on TikTok? I know that's what he's doing. That's what all these young guys. He's too busy thinking about, I'm going to post it, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my Lord. You couldn't catch a wobbling duck. It was a wobbling duck. You should have been like the dog and duck hunt. All you had to do was go pick it up and walk it into the end zone.
Anyone remember in 86 when was it 86 or was it 80? Was it 90? I can't remember. I think it was 90 when Leonard Marshall wrecked in the playoff game, wrecked Joe Montana. And the ball went fluttering. And there was some guy, some scrub giant, wore number 56. And the ball hit him right,
Michael Parsons' father.
Ball hit him right in the hands. He runs it in for a touchdown. That was kind of the play that Kayvon had. I mean, not that it was at that big of a moment, but literally that was the play I thought of, because the ball that Montana threw after he got wrecked by Leonard Marshall, was a duck. It was this fluttering duck, and you're like, oh my God, he could potentially drop it. And that's kind of when I saw that play, to me was reminiscent that he was so wide open. It was a wounded duck. You had 30 yards in front of you with nobody there. All you had to do was catch it and run straight.
Oh, run straight. Something that Daniel Jones couldn't do on a national televised game. Where arguably he would have had one of the greatest.
It's Daniel Jones. Never mind.
There are times in life where people show you who they are, and it's on you to pay attention.
Yep. OG Knockout says, let's see here. What does he say? He says, Jalen Daniels is going to be the truth in the NFL. If we can't get Williams, the Giants should get Jalen Daniels.
He's too small.
Does. He threw – okay, listen. He just threw for 600 yards.
He's going to die.
He threw for 600 yards. He threw for 5 touchdowns. Jalen Daniels is making that you always have a player that makes that late season push for the Heisman, for the draft. People forget, and this is what I'm not against Jalen Daniels, but people forget this. He had 3 years at Arizona State. This is his 4th year playing. And he transferred from Arizona State and he transferred to LSU. And he's got like 900 rushing yards this year. He's got 8 touchdowns.
Now he's fast.
He is a fast guy. He's completing 71% of his passes right now for 3,164 yards. He's got 30 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He is a guy that, he people think he's small, but he's 6'3". But he is 180. He's 185. So he's not small. He's slender. Penix is slender as well. And he is making that push. Now, if you want me to tell you things that I like about him right now, is the fact that he is not one of these quarterbacks who started just one season. He played 12 games in 19, 4 games in 20, 13 games in 21, 14 games in 22, and he's played 10 games so far right now. So he's not a guy that does not have the starting experience. Like we've seen some guys come in, James, with limited starting experience, but he's played he's played in a large amount of games. He has shown his accuracy has improved. It's gone from 60% to 58 to 65 to 68 to 71. But I also think that has to do more with the talent that he has at LSU.
Yeah. Way more talent here than
way more talent at LSU. He has the speed. He has the arm strength. I would like to see more in reference to pocket awareness for him. And I'd like to see how he does when he doesn't have the LSU talent around him. Because I think a lot of times we've said it before, those people with Ohio State quarterbacks, they look great. They look great in Ohio State, but then you put them on a team that, was bad in the NFL. They just don't do well. But he's that guy. There's always this late driving force for either the Heisman or the draft, James, that people fall in love with. It was Malik Willis 2 years ago.
There's going to be there's going to be 2 more guys that pop up.
Yeah.
There's going to be more guys that pop up. They'll have like a great 4-game stretch or 5, maybe play good in a bowl game, the Meineke Bowl or something. And then it's like, oh, look at that guy. Oh, man, he looks amazing. Looked amazing for 3 games against Appalachian State Catholic University. So.
Well,
I like Jaden, but
one of the things I like about him is this: he's played. He's not a one and done guy that only started one season. He has played, and he has played consistently, except outside the injury.
I don't like guys that I feel like I could pick up and scoop slam myself. Like I'm only 5'10", 200 pounds. I feel like if me and Jayden Daniels met in the back alley, he'd have some trouble. And I really feel that way. And I like him, OG Big Devo. I like him a lot, but he just feels like, man, Michael Parsons coming around the edge, blindside, bam.
Now you have to remember Penix. Now he's also 6'3", but he's 218 pounds.
How much? What is that? A 20, 30, almost 40-pound difference?
It's almost a 30-pound difference.
A lot of that is going to be muscle too. So that's
now the other thing about Penix is you have to remember Penix spent 4 years in Indiana before he transferred over to Washington. So he's a guy that Penix to me has more limited experience. He played 13 games last year. He's played 10 games this year. So he has played 23 games over the last 2 years. But again, he's not a one season starter, and he's only completed on average 67% of his passes. And again, his passing percentage went up exponentially when he transferred to Washington out of Indiana.
Of course. Plus his injury history.
Is a little out there as well. So you got to kind of put that in perspective as well. So, like I said, if it's still me, I got to go Caleb. I still have to go Caleb 1. I still have to go probably May 2.
The Drake.
And then Penix. And I laughed because I did a video. I talked about it earlier before he jumped on the stream. I did a video because I spoke to someone that was a former scout, and he gave me his list of quarterbacks, and his list of quarterbacks was actually May, Williams, Daniels, Penix. So, whatever that. I mean, for whatever that's worth. I mean,
no, I like the kid Daniels. Like I watched like that Alabama game last week with LSU. I watched that. I actually like both quarterbacks, but Jaden definitely has the skill level. I just worry about him getting murdered out there, man. That's all. That's my only thing. He just looks too small. That's my only knock.
I love this one.
Warning, sarcasm. Warning, sarcasm.
The New York Giants have failed.
Sarcasm. Warning, sarcasm.
Tommy DeVito.
We failed our third string quarterback.
We failed Tommy DeVito. Let's get up to 50 likes, people. Zach Attack with the super chat saying Tommy DeVito's throwing motion looks like Ryan Tannehill. He does. And like I said, he's got the typical 80s throwing motion. If you look at any quarterback from the 80s, just pick a quarterback and look at him from the 80s. It's this pitcher windup that they taught you going up through high school, going up from Pop Warner to JV to varsity to college, and it's that big pitcher windup, and that's what he has. And it's not and I hate, James, I fucking hate when teams mess with the mechanics of a quarterback and try to change his throwing motion, because I feel like it never works. It never works when you sit there and so dramatically try to alter. And I've said it before. Imagine if you were Andy Reid and you went up to Patrick Mahomes and said, no, dude, no more of this 3/4 shit. No more of this sideline shit. No more of the shovel pass stuff. Basic throwing motion. Just throw the ball like you were taught. Over the shoulder, over your head, ball in the apex. Do it like you were taught. None of this crap anymore.
Well, it's like
we have Patrick Mahomes now.
If you're a quarterback and you've gotten to the professional level, then chances are high school, college, you've probably been throwing the same way for a minimum of like 7 years. So 7, maybe even 8 years. So to ask somebody who's been doing something the same way for almost a decade and it's gotten them to this point, and then they go, we're going to scrap all that. You need to do it.
You need to do it my way.
They're going to be concentrating more on getting the motion right than just completing the pass.
You want to hear something weird? I'm going to tell you something weird, and people are going to
still go on Twitter and expect to find logic.
I know. If you look at the likes of Tim Tebow, Tim Tebow had the weirdest throwing motion going back into college. Going back to college, he probably threw that way, since he was a little kid. And at the end of the day, he still threw for, 30 touchdowns, 32 touchdowns, 30 touchdowns, 21 touchdowns, still threw for over 3,000 yards, still completed almost 67% of his passes, came into the NFL that first year. Actually, the last game of the season had a 300-yard plus passing game. I don't remember who it was, but he played well towards the end of his rookie year. And then the next year, they're like, well, we're going to completely change your throwing motion. And I'm not saying Tim Tebow would have been a better quarterback. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But if you watched him try to then throw, he looked awkward before, but he got the ball out. Now he had this big-ass freaking wind-up where it looks like he's trying to do everything right. And to your point, it's muscle memory. It's the way you have been throwing since you were a kid, and you are trying to alter that. I mean, his career, I mean, his passing percentage, everything went down. I mean, it was just the fact that you watched him throw. It was painful.
Thinking too much.
And you were thinking too much. Not that I think his career would have been any better or he would have been another great player. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm just saying you tinker with someone's throwing motion, all of a sudden you're screwing with something that they have done since they were playing in the street or playing in the backyard.
Yeah, no, perfect. I mean, and Tim Tebow is a guy, whether you love him, hate him, whatever, but he is a baller as far as a guy that he's going to go out there and give you 110% of everything.
Yep.
You know, that's funny. But once you start, you know, trying to fine tune certain things and because Tim Tebow's a good guy and he wants to do things, then he's going to be thinking, okay, well, coaches want me to do this, or any quarterback in that scenario, coaches want me to do this. Let me do it the way they want me to do it, instead of going, oh, hot read, okay, let me do it. Oh, wait, no, I have to get the elbow tucked in, and then now I'm going to go, oh, I'm sacked. You know, it's too much. You can't be thinking football is a reactionary, bang, 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 bang. You know,
I love this. I love this one. Parsons is not LT. Please stop. No, James was not comparing him to LT. James was just jokingly saying that he was his son. Logic's wise, Big Tim, everyone respect. Daniel Jones's career is a one-play Seattle where he took 5 times, where he looked 5 times and then threw left from interception by a rookie. What's up, Hurst for real? What's up, Tim? What's up, James? Everything is good. Daniels threw 300. Let's see. He threw for 350 and ran for 2. Yeah, he ran for 6. I mean, it was 600 total yards. But thank you, Richard. Let's see. I don't even remember. It doesn't really matter. What do you think of Josh Hartman? Josh Hartman, you like? The kid from Notre Dame, the quarterback. Is it Josh Hartman? The Notre Dame quarterback who was at Wake Forest last year. He played 4 years at Wake Forest. He's a 5th-year senior. I kind of want to talk about Dallas, but Hartman. You know what scares me about him? To me, he would be a giant pick.
I don't like him.
I don't like him either. I thought he was going to show something.
He doesn't have
Notre Dame.
He doesn't have
Sam Hart. You're thinking Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman.
Oh, okay. I was like Josh, but I know.
Yeah, I didn't know. That's what I was like. Josh Hartman was for a second, but then I kind of figured it was Sam Hartman.
He doesn't have it. Whatever every player, every guy supposed to have some kind of it factor, whatever it is, something that makes you special, different. He just seems like a guy.
Well, honestly. You have to remember Hartman right now is a 6th-year senior. He has been in the college ranks longer than Daniel Jones has been the quarterback of the Giants. He came in at 2018, Wake Forest, and played as a freshman. He had the 2 big years at Wake, which was 21 and 22, where he threw for over 30, almost 40 touchdowns, but only barely. 1 year he only completed like 58%. The other year he only completed 63%. I thought when he moved to Notre Dame, he was going to have a step up in talent and he was going to show more, but he's already got 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, only completing like 62% of his passes.
Which is not going to translate good to the NFL.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I think he should have. I've already said it before. I think he should have came out last year.
Let me ask you a question because you know more football than me, which I have no problem admitting, and probably more than most of us. I think we can agree on that. How much has analytics messed up the game? Meaning that, let me set you up before you fire off. How much has analytics messed up the game in the sense that we're seeing probably the worst quarterback play right now than we've seen in maybe 10 years, maybe even 15 years as a totality. I'm talking about starters to backups. Analytics will tell you that the running game is not important. The running back is not important. You got to throw more. Throwing more, much like shooting the 3 in basketball, is more efficient. But by throwing the ball more, you're putting the ball more in harm's way. Also, when you're throwing the ball more, you actually got to have a guy who can throw the ball at a high rate and be consistent. So how much do you think that people relying on analytics has led to teams taking potential at quarterbacks and not using the run game as much? So we're throwing the ball more, but you're picking guys who are not Marino. They're not Big Ben. They're not Heck, they're not even Matt Hasselbeck, to be honest. You know, and the guy, they just can't do what the teams are asking them to do, and the teams keep asking them to do these things that are just not realistic. Where back in the day, you can hand the ball off a few times, set the defense up, get some play action going, mix it up. Now you got guys throwing for like 40 times a game, and it's like, oh, okay, you know.
I'm gonna take and Zach, I got your super chat. We talked about Tommy DeVito, or maybe that was a late one I was looking at. No, we got to your super chat, Zach.
No, he said that, Zach.
I wanted to make sure because we just talked about his throwing motion because that's what we're talking about. Tim Tebow. You ever seen the movie The Last Boy Scout?
Come on. You're looking at both of us, and you're asking me if I've ever seen one of my favorite people, Bruce Willis and Damon.
Bruce Willis, Damon Wayans. He plays, you know, for the LA Stallions. Waynes. He gets kicked out of league for drug and gambling allegations and everything else. And there's an opening scene where they have the game, and Billy Blanks, who was also
Billy Blanks, baby,
creator of Tybo and everything else. He's the running back. He goes out and there's a scene in the movie where there's a fan and he's like a cab driver, and he looks at Damon Wayans and said, "Goddamn free agents ruin the game." And I keep thinking about that with analytics. And I think in some regards, a lot of teams use and some teams don't. But if you go back to Joe Judge came out and said, "I don't believe in momentum." He came out and said it. And to me, that was, and his big thing was Joe Judge was going to be an analytical guy. That coffee's got to be cold. Dude, that coffee's got to be cold.
Of course it is. But, got to finish the cup.
He was more of an analytical guy, and he even said, I don't believe in momentum. And I think there are some coaches that follow, and I think it's worse in baseball. Because baseball used to be a feel. Used to be a manager had a feel. A manager was like, you know what, I have a feeling that this guy is due. It used to be about momentum. It used to be about carrying something over into a season. You may go lefty against there's a gut feeling. You have like in baseball, you got a lefty going up against a lefty. You know, baseball analytics will tell you don't do that. You put the right hand pitcher who's got a 249 average against this player on Wednesdays. When it's the sun is out in the winter equinox, because there's a statistic for everything. There is another movie that James, I don't know if you remember, Mr. Baseball with Tom Selleck.
Yeah. Come on. And, first of all, Magnum PI.
Magnum PI. He is. Yeah, that's right. Because you are the Black Magnum PI. He's getting kicked out of the Yankees, and they're trading him to Japan. He goes, how can you be trading me how can you be trading me to Japan? I led this team and ninth inning doubles on Wednesdays in the month of September. So there is always a stat for something. And I think now we've gotten to this point where some coaches are relying so heavily on it that they're taking the emotional feel out of the game. They're taking sometimes you know what, back in my day it was you ride that horse till it dies. So if something's working, now I will say this to Dable, and I can't remember what game it was, but it was a couple games ago. He ran the same play like 3 times in a row, and it was successful. Mm-hmm. And even the announcers jokingly said that the other team finally figured out what they were doing, and they stopped the play after the 5th time. Sometimes you just keep doing something until it stops working. Even if analytics tells you can do this, sometimes it's just a gut. Sometimes it's just a feel.
I mean, it's go back to another movie, Major League, when I think they're playing the White Sox, and my man goes, "Give me Vaughn," and he goes, "Vaughn is 0 for the century against this guy." Goes, well, he's due. Like, I'm telling y'all right now, and I'm not wishing for this because I want us to lose, but we're going to beat the Cowboys one day.
That's when he went up against the great Jack Parkman.
Jack Parkman, yes, he did the shimmy. Major League, another great one for y'all. You go out to
Major 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and the program.
And we just gave y'all some tidbits right here.
I've talked about this a million times before. I am in the program, and I am also in the airport scene when they come back from spring training in Major League 2.
Oh,
I'm in both of those movies.
You did say that.
I've said that before, and that was also Major League 2, and I've told this story a million times. Major League 2 is I spent a weekend with Charlie Sheen before Charlie Sheen went crazy. This was back back in the 90s. I literally spent a weekend in Georgetown on M Street with Charlie Sheen, and I remember because I was doing. I'm not going to get into it, but I was.
You were with Charlie Sheen. There's a lot.
I'm not going to get into it, but all I remember is the director's assistant, and it was called the Latham Hotel, and it's not there anymore. Called me up it was on like it was like on a Sunday because they had a shoot at the BWI airport. Called me up in my room. I didn't know they knew where I was staying, and said to me, this was like at 11:30. They said to me in the morning, "Do you know where Charlie is? He's supposed to be on set." And I'm thinking to myself, and I don't remember because I half the night was a blank, and I don't remember because I just remember we went somewhere and we came somewhere and then we went somewhere. And
I said, I'll be back.
And I look over in the other bed because there's someone in the other bed. I look over there, and there's Charlie Sheen. I'm like, yeah, he's right here. They're like, could you do us a favor and please get him on set?
No, you right? You're supposed to get.
Yeah, because I am the I am the responsible one.
That's funny. That's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
But the analytics thing, real quick. And again, that's not my. I don't like to take credit for things that I didn't come up with. Bomani Jones from ESPN, he was talking about it on his podcast that analytics in football, it's like baseball, it's ruining baseball. I got to be honest.
I think it's ruining baseball.
Loving baseball, The Sandlot, Major League, some of these movies, and I really do love the purity of the game, but I don't like the thing of, DeGrom is pitching amazing, but he's hit his pitch count. It's time to take him out.
Take him out.
But the guy's pitching like a damn near perfect game. But we got to take him out. I think that way of thinking has creeped into football. I know it's creeping into basketball. That's just going left. But it's creeping. I think it's creeping into football. To his Bomani Jones' point that a lot of coaches and GMs they're looking at factors instead of just looking at what's concrete or potential And I just think it's part of. I mean, the quarterback play today. Look at the matchups we have out there today. It can't be this many bad quarterbacks that are playing on a professional level for the National Football League. I mean, we got Zach Wilson going against Mac Jones today.
You went through a progression of the matchups today for quarterback play. We're not going to get back into that, but that was a great example of some of the how the quarterback play has gone downhill. It is now 11:47. I think everyone knows what time it is.
But that's okay. Remember, there are no stupid questions, just stupid people.
I don't know why I pushed that button. It was number 34. I just needed a sound effect. It's Guess the Score.
Ooh.
What in your score for the New York Football Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys? Nobody has won yet. We had one person last week, and they were off by a single point.
That's crazy that whoever that was even that close.
And I love it because we had this last year too, and people thought I was an asshole because I didn't give them the prize. Well, you didn't get it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's not like, hey, listen, the Giants, you guys lost 17-16, but we're still going to give you the win.
But that thinking is kind of what's wrong in sports, and it's like, well, I was the closest one, so hey, give it to me. I was close.
I was close. Let's see here. This was Tim getting Tiger's blood. No, this was before Tiger's blood. People are ripping Pat Leonard for the tweet he just put on Twitter. Okay.
Well, I've been talking to you, so I don't know.
I don't know. I was going to say I'm on the air. I don't know. Would you call us on the air?
What did he say?
What did he say? Yeah, don't put something down and don't tell me what he said.
Zach, get on that.
That's like you are, I don't know. Let's see, Pat Leonard. Let's see what the tweet says. I heard he was giving them a chance to win every week, though. Bill O'Brien is freaking out at Mac Jones on the bench right now. Was that the tweet? Was that the tweet, Mr. Weaver? Because I don't know. It was the dark ages. Analytics improved baseball before Bill James. No one considered Bill James. I have the Bill James baseball guys around here somewhere too. Let's see. Zach Wilson versus Aiden O'Connell. Did you mean that? LJ's got 34-3. LJ, you got to give me the team.
I was going to say, who's got the 3?
I love it because it was last year. It was last year as well. Somebody guessed the right score, but they didn't give me the team.
Well, you got to complete the essay question.
Yeah. So LJ, if you win 34-3, I can't give you both, LJ. I can't give you both down. Oh, let's see. We got 34-14. We also got 38-10 people. Well, we got 38-14 Cowboys. We got 38-10, 38-6. But what team?
Got just to be.
Chris says 35-6 Cowboys. Mr. Weaver goes, Giants finally hit 30 points. I'm going to say 30-27 G-Men. Okay. Oh, all right. I like that one. Todd goes 35-13 Cowboys. Tommy touchdown keeps his TD streak alive. Joe Rev 36-9 Cowboys. Hey, Joe Rev. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
Those hats in the gear are.
We got 2 of them now. Got 2 of them. The Joe Rev hat. I got 2 of them now, Joe. Jeff Newman's coming in 37-6 Cowboys. Guilty's got 28-10. Justin goes with the Cowboys. We got 21-12 Cowboys. We got 44-6 Dallas. We got LJ finally coming and going Dallas 34. We got 13 Cowboys. We got Richard dropping in with 40-0 Cowboys. Logic
a repeat
with the big 31-6 Dallas. Should we throw in an incentive so someone can get this right? Should we throw in an incentive?
Listen, you might as well. This is a, we're trying to pull ourselves to the finish line for the rest of the season. So
I love Zach Attacks 24-24.
Oh, could you imagine that?
Daryl says 44-3 Cowboys. Joe Rev says, no, send me one. No, they're mine. I'm like a child. I can't have one. I need to have 2. I gotta have 2.
Just in case.
Well, no, I have a rip in this one. The second one has a rip in the bill.
And then that's what you gotta have 2.
They don't make these anymore, so I found a way to get one. Giants in the upset, 24-24.
But that would be an upset, though.
That would be an upset. Justin's got 38-10, 38-6, 49-0 Cowboys for all 3. All right. Let's see. Joe Shane and Brian Dable under pressure on Sunday to start fielding a respectable, consistently competitive Giant team per Pat Leonard.
Oh, that was his tweet?
That was the tweet? All right, let's read that. Let's read that again, though. Joe Shane and Brian Dable under pressure on Sunday to start fielding a competitive, respectable, consistent Giant team. James, can you find anything wrong with that statement?
That statement is correct because there's been we've had some games. We started the year 40-0 and honestly have never gotten up off the mat.
No.
And there's been some games sometimes. I mean, the Jet game, we're sitting up here talking about, DeVito and my brother Tim coming up with a great game plan for Kafka. But this is the same guy that 2 weeks ago, they didn't let him throw a damn pass. So, you're talking.
He did throw, almost got intercepted.
You're talking about that. This has been, we could talk about the Joe Judge era and the second year of McAdoodoo. But for a guy that won Coach of the Year and everybody was kissing his foot, I'm going to tell you, man, there's been a couple decisions in games this year, and I'm not saying every decision, with the Kafka double end around, obviously that didn't come from Dable, but yeah. And you know what it is with Dable? His press conferences, I'm not liking the smugness. I'm not liking the not answering the questions. I'm not liking
it's kind of Shermer-esque.
I'm not liking that. So I agree with that tweet that he needs to come off like, hey, even if there's not a lot in the kitchen, you need to still make some dinner.
Right. You still need to eat.
We still got to eat. Kids got to eat.
I will say this about Dable, and this is what concerns me the most about Dable right now. the press conferences are a little
They're a little.
they're a little interesting. For a team that only has 2 wins, he has seemed to have gone conservative. That 7-2 streak, he would go for it on 4th down. He would run plays you wouldn't expect. He would do things that were different. But one of the worst ways to coach is not to lose. And I'm not saying he's coaching that way, but there are some decisions that you look at. You go back to the Buffalo.
No, but he is though. The Jet game, he was coaching not to lose.
You go to the Buffalo game. He gets on Tyrod Taylor's ass for calling that play to Saquon Barkley. Rightfully so, because you took points off the board. Would those 3 points be the winning of the game? I don't know, because Graham Gano had missed the multitudes of kicks at that point in time, so we don't know if we would even made that kick. But he did lose points off the board. But I think in some regards, he saw something that the coaching staff told him, Tyrod, that if this play is there, you check out and run the draw. You run the play with Saquon. The last play of the game with the Waller, that was a penalty. Should have been called. You can't grab a guy's arms and say, "Oh, I don't know what happened." But I think the play should have been at that point in time again to Barkley. If you can't get Saquon Barkley 1 yard, and he is the guy that is your franchise, and he can't get you a yard, he can't get you into the end zone. He told you he wanted the ball. You went with a what would statistically be a safer play.
No, that analytics?
Going to analytics and not running that play to Barkley. And again, I think he was playing. He had the game. He had the team in the game, and he was playing again not to lose. And I think against the Jets, he had the lead. He had Tommy DeVito, who didn't let throw. He was playing not to lose. If that was the case, run the Wildcat with Barkley. If you're not going to let DeVito throw. He did against the Bears 2 years ago or last year. Run the Wildcat. Because you're basically running the same thing. I remember back in the 80s when Steve Fuller and Jim McMahon for the Bears both went down. And Walter Payton was under center. And
Sweetness.
They still threw the ball more with Walter Payton under center than they did with Tommy DeVito, because why are you even going to have him on the roster? So I do have some concerns with the fact that, and I said this before, I think if things implode in Buffalo and they fire Sean McDermott, I think Dable's going to get out. I think Dable then will want out so he could take the job as the head coach in Buffalo.
We actually have to put that into play here, that Dable may be looking at the situation where, hey, I got an owner here who meddles too much. I can't really go with the players I want to go with. I didn't really want to come here anyway. I wanted to go to San Diego in the first place. My boy, White Vic is struggling without me. I'm gonna go back home. You may have to think about that, Giants fans. Like, we are not the pretty girl at the ball right now. No. We're not. Nobody may not want to stay here and dance with us. Like, we are. New York football is probably the worst it's been in maybe 20, 30 years total.
When the Jets have to be the savior for New York football, we got problems. The Jets
and they don't have a quarterback.
No, that's the Mr. Weaver says, Tim and James, keep your eye on Dable's game plan with DeVito. If he spreads the offense out like he did with Tyrod Taylor this week, it's going to really tell you how Dable feels about DJ. You probably missed it, Mr. Weaver, in the beginning, because I game planned this out for the Giants.
Yeah,
it's a very simple game plan. I come out in a spread offense. I don't go deep. I take the short plays. I take what the old saying. I take what the defense gives me. Have that safety creep up, and then when DeVito sees that safety creep up, check out, take a shot down with Hyatt or Slayton, and just kind of open up the defense a little bit, open up the offense a little bit against his defense, kind of surprise him because you got nothing else to lose. Don't rely on number 64 to run the ball 30 times a game. And people are going to be like, who the hell's 64, Tim?
It's a secret weapon.
That's what I'm talking about. You don't know who 64 is.
That's secret weapon.
Those that missed it, we are taking Saquon Barkley. We are changing his number to 64, and we are calling him Markley. So this way, Dallas can't key on 26. People think
I
don't think
why not? No, why not? Like, you know, again, I said this on the last stream, and I'm gonna keep saying it because I'm just a rebel. If I'm DeVito, I'm telling you right now, I'm going out there, Joe Klein, baby. Like, you know what? Screw that play by Kafka. I may never get a chance past this year to start games again. Let me air this out. Hyatt, you go run a post. Wandell, you come curl over the middle. Sterling, you just stand there and do jumping jacks. And we're going on 2. Putt.
You know he's got to be. You know who he's got to be.
That's great.
Gotta get to work. That's right.
He's got to be Willie Beeman.
Come on.
Hold on, I got to do the whole thing.
I keep the ladies screaming and all my fans got screaming. You can defeat me, you're dreaming.
Like I'm so serious though. Like you're, and I know like yeah, you'll get green. Listen, we've seen Dabo throw an iPad at the $160 million man. We've seen him yell at Tyrod going into the hallway. So if you mess up, you're not better than them. You're gonna get yelled at too. Who cares? But if you actually do something and complete a touchdown or something crazy, what do you think he's gonna do? He may say, "Hey, don't do that shit again." But hey, good job.
Willie Beeman only got the Sharks to the playoffs because he didn't listen to Coach D'Amato. He called his own plays in the huddle. That's what he's got to do.
Is it Tim? Doesn't the quarterback have the last say on the play? Doesn't you know?
Not if you're an undrafted free agent out of Illinois. No, you don't have the last say.
But at the same time, I'm just saying, like, when is he going to get a chance to be a starter again? This is your showcase.
Todd Taylor said. Todd says it's going to be Jim Burt. No, it's not going to be Jim Burt. Let's get to these last ones because I got to get out of here. James has got to get out of here. I used to clown the Cowboys for years for being a prisoner of Jerry Jones, just to find out Mara is just as bad, if not worse. I compared this already. You know what Mara reminds me of?
What?
Do you know who it reminds me of?
The iceberg and Titanic.
No, he reminds me of James Dolan.
Oh, don't say that.
But you know what's sad? James Dolan actually stepped away. Now he does some stupid things in his garden in reference to the Oakley situation and a couple other things, but he has basically stepped away from basketball operations ever since he turned over the reins to Phil Jackson.
I was gonna say we ruined the last few years when Melo was here because he did let Phil be Phil.
Let Phil do it. He let the basketball brain trust,
the guru,
do what they needed to do. When they wanted to go for Donovan Mitchell, he didn't veto the trade. He didn't say anything. I think the Knicks were smart not to go with Donovan Mitchell because you can't have both Mitchell and Brunson on the same team who neither one of them can play defense. James and I have talked about it. You're going to have to win the games 154 to 148 if you have those two guys on the same court at the same time. But that's who he's kind of reminding me of. He's kind of reminding me of a 90s version, early 2000 version, or mid 2000 versions of James Dolan. He's got his finger in too much.
It's a good comparison.
The Patriots. The Patriots are losing right now. They're killing. James, as always.
Okay.
As always, we're gonna get out of here because I got stuff to do. I got to put up a 7-foot Bigfoot statue. So I gotta get on that. But as always, we give you the final thought of sanity for this show.
Just
so
you know what?
Final thought of what are you going to bring into us that is going to give us this final thought of this New York Giants game going up against the vaunted Dallas Cowboys?
I'll say that this is gonna sound bad. People are gonna be mad at me, but don't be surprised if we go in there and the halftime score is like 13-10 and it's a game and we're sitting there going, God damn it, DeVito, we need to tank. So, because that would be a giant Dallas thing to do. We just all of a sudden the game is Dak throws a pick, has a fumble. Pollard has a fumble. Dak throws a pick. DeVito's actually like, you know what? I watched Any Given Sunday last night. Yaga! Like, just don't. I'm just saying that would be such a giant thing to do. It would just to go out there and try to win this game.
And on that sombering note, this is Tim, this is James, this is New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. I have the big video after the game and the one on Monday and the live stream on Tuesday. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell, James, because you want to know why. Oh, that'd be awesome.